Hi, this is Irma again. The last time I came to you, I was discussing with you about the different outcome of my son Sean's surgery, post-surgery, how many sickness and diagnosis he had after surgery. There were several: pan-hypopituitarism, diabetes insipidus, the one we had to deal with the most regarding his sodium. I said pan-hypopituitarism, dysphagia, nystagmus, constipation, um, and spasms. I say spasm, but I really mean seizures. So, and he was on about 22 different medications for each of those things. He also, like I said earlier in my videos, that he did have a trach and he did have feeding tubes. And along with trachs or tubes in the body, from time to time, a patient has infections. So, in addition to the medications that he had, from time to time, he was on antibiotics for infections. Each time we put him on antibiotic, we had to preference it with Benadryl because he was so allergic to so many things. The first time we found out he was allergic to medication was after surgery, about 3 weeks later, when the medications, the strong medications, antibiotics that they give after surgery, caused him to swell and caused him to have a rash from head to toe. Those were vancomycin and Timentin. So today I'm in the hospital, not for myself, but I'm supporting someone who is here. And my time in the hospital today brings back so many memories of when our son was in the hospital. The first time he was in the hospital at 8 years old, we stayed in the hospital. I stayed with him for 4 months, and a lot of that time I spent in the hospital. After that, the first year, I was back and forth to um, in the ambulance to the hospital, from our local hospital to Atlanta, which was 4 hours away. 6 years later, we started using another hospital, which was 2 hours away in Jacksonville, Florida, Children's Hospital. So this morning when I came in here, the beeping sound brought back so many memories. I wouldn't have never thought that a beeping sound would evoke so many memories that um, that I had from previous years of being in the hospital with Sean, but they did. You might hear some noise in the background because, like I said, I am in the hospital, and the nurse's station is right across from this room. But I just wanted to share with you, especially parents who are primary caregivers of their loved one, their child, being in a hospital, um, just to encourage you. You know, the people that we encountered, doctors, nurses, therapists, even house cleaning people in the hospital, they all were so nice to us. And in return, of course, we were nice to them. Every time I went downstairs or went out of the room to purchase something from the store or even downstairs, I asked the nurses did they need anything, and they really appreciated it. I think that they were trained to say no because never did they ever say yes. But they were friendly to us, and we were very friendly back to them. And so this made our relationship with the nurses and the doctors good, and a good working relationship, because each time that Sean had to be admitted into the hospital, Sean was in the hospital for at least 10 days after the initial 4 months. Um, he was on a lot of medication. He was on oxygen. He was on um, just when we were admitted into the hospital, it was a lot. Um, we would always go in through ICU and then go to a regular floor. But it was always a lot of medication, a lot of tests, X-rays every morning, um, and it was a lot of emotional stress. You see me with a headband on. I hope you like it. I like it too. But I lost a lot of hair. I lost a lot of hair initially with all of this um, at first. So I'm without hair in the top of my head. So I wear wigs and I wear headbands, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that, and my family is okay with me with that. I pray for my hair to return. Part of it was alopecia, of course, but when you go through a lot of stress, there is no way that your body could go through that much stress e- emotionally without that stress affecting you physically. So, one of the things that I want to share with you is that you need a good support group. You need to be supported by other parents who are going through the same thing that you're going through, because they understand their child is going through very, very similar things that your child is going through. So you're able to talk, you're able to understand each other. You need a good support group with your family. I recommend that you have a family therapist where you get together at least once a month and your family talk about the things that you're going through, especially for families who have a child who has been going through a long-term illness, or the doctor says that the illness is going to be long-term. You need to put in place a support group. um, I think the family needs the husband and wife, if they're if they're if you're married, you need date nights, and you need um, someone to counsel with you also. You may not think that you need it, but the divorce rate for families who have long-term illness or sickness with a child, the divorce rate is high, and it is stressful. And for those reasons, you need counseling. Um, you need someone you could talk to at least once a month, just you, the husband and wife. This sounds so minimal, but it is very, very vital. It's very necessary. I recommend this very highly. Um, so when you're in the hospital, pay attention to what the nurses are doing. You're able to learn a lot just by listening and watching. And when you get home to care for your child, because more than likely you are the primary caregiver, you're able to transfer what you've learned in the hospital to your home care with your child or your loved one. So pay attention and listen to what they're doing, and listen to what they're saying and watch what they're doing. Um, ask questions. Ask questions why they're doing this. Ask questions about procedures. Ask, are there alternate procedures? Just keep abreast of what's going on around you. Don't leave it all up to the doctors and the nurses. Ask your questions, and find out what you can do better. Is there a different way of doing this? I found out that in many cases there were medications that I could that they could give him that caused less side effects, um, or procedures that were less invasive. So ask questions, pay attention, and listen. Um, Being in a hospital, I admonish you to take the things that you like to take, like to do and have there, and also things that your child like. If your child like music, um, bring their favorite music and headphones and put it on them while they're in the hospital. Um, I'm a musician, so I requested that I would bring my keyboard, and I just played music for my son from time to time. while I was in the hospital. And let me remind you, when we were in the hospital, we were in the hospital for weeks at a time. So, so uh, that's why we were able to do things like that. Um, so the biggest thing that I wanted you to know, and I've said it, is that support. You need support. Your family needs support, and your marriage needs support when your loved one is in the hospital. I would admonish you not to take it for granted, but get the support that you need, because it's going to help keep your family a healthy family, keep your family intact. The last bit of information that I want to share with you is pray. Make sure that you pray, because prayer helps and prayer changes things. So I would admonish you to pray and to read your Bible. This is soothing to you. This brings peace to the whole situation that you're encountering. So pray and read your Bible daily. Have a time to set aside to pray. Have a time set aside each day to read your Bible. And then, if you can, set aside a time where your family could come together, join hands, and pray. It's very, very powerful. Prayer is very powerful. Prayer changes things. Prayer moves mountains. Prayer opens doors. Prayer sometimes closes doors that don't even need to be opened. So I admonish you to add that to your list. I've given you quite a long list, but the list is a very important list, and I think it would be worth your while to check into it. All right, that's it. Let me say that the person I'm in the hospital with is having a procedure. It's a just a regular procedure, and it is nothing that is life-threatening, although there are risks with anything in the hospital. So all is well, and I want you to have a great day. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today, and I will come back with you to finish up the series with Anna, A Journey with Anna, Anaplastic Astrocytoma, that my son, Sean, experienced for 10 and a half years of his life. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.